What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good and hope the week is treating you well. So, this week's episode is a really good one. I think I say that every week, but this really is a good one. It's kind of a special one to me. The guest on today's episode is a guy called Chip E, and Chip E was pretty much the reason why house music started. So, this is a big deal for me. I'm kind of a fanboy in this as well. I met Chip a couple of years ago at a Dirty Bird barbecue in Brooklyn. And he also came to one of my shows in Chicago recently in March at the Funky Brunch. I've wanted to pick Chip's brains about the whole scene and how it started and just everything about what he has kind of created in that I call my job. And a lot of people call their jobs and a lot of people call their loves and their passions. So without further ado, Chippy. Chippy, how's it going, man?
All right, Will. How you doing, man?
I'm really good. Thanks for coming on the show, dude. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming, right?
I know, right? When I saw you in Chicago when I did the Funky Brunch thing last,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is like
yeah.
February, I think that was, or March.
Yeah, right before the world ended.
Literally, are you still in Chicago?
I am. Yeah. I think the weekend, I think it was that same weekend. That was when I think it was, yeah, it was beginning of March. That was when I did I think my last big gig, which was me and Carl Cox, we did an event at Radius in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, you did it the night before.
That's what it
Night
was.
before,
Yeah. Yeah.
on the Saturday, and I was playing the Sunday, and then the week after was St. Patrick's Day, St. Paddy's Day,
Yeah.
and that's when Chicago got locked down because like, the weekend after I was playing in Phoenix, and Phoenix wasn't locked down, so I
Yeah.
I got my last show in, and then had to escape. It was like a refugee at the airport coming back to England.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was just in London in February, and man, yeah, I feel like, I mean, so landlocked. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
used to being in one place this long. I mean, not since I think I was 18 years old. It's just crazy.
I was gonna say, man, you've been doing this. I think you're the person that I know that's been doing it the longest. That like I have like a that I've spoke to in person and kind of have. I know we've only hung out briefly, and spoken briefly, but I think you're the person that's been in this game for the longest. Um,
Yeah.
was your first record 1986,
85.
85, and that was
85.
that Time to
Yeah.
Jack?
It was the whole Jack Tracks EP, Time to
Yeah,
Jack, It's House. Yeah.
dude. Like, so I'm gonna like a lot of people don't a lot of people that listen to this and that are kind of fans of me might not even know the records that you brought out initially back in the day.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of the big DJs, well, I'd like to hope all the house DJs know who you are and things like that. But you're pretty much one of the people that started the whole house scene.
I'd say that's accurate.
It's
It is.
fucking
I
wild,
mean,
man.
yeah, I mean, there literally was no there was no house music before the Jack Track CP. Period.
Yeah.
There wasn't. I
It's
mean, Discogs tells the truth.
yeah. It's wild. And it's amazing to have you on the show because obviously this it's I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit speechless about it because
Oh
it's
man, come on,
no,
come on.
you know it how it is. It's like there's some like I love doing what I do so much,
Yeah,
and obviously you do as well.
yeah,
And the amount how the amount how the amount of work we all put into this scene to keep the scene going and keep our lives going and keep people happy by playing shows and making records. And the fact that you were one of the main reasons why this scene started, like, we all owe our fucking careers to you, man. It's insane.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that,
Nah,
man.
man. I think it's because I think we all forget about it. I can only speak for myself, right? We live in a day and age where we want everything now. We want everything. In fact, we wanted everything yesterday. We don't want everything now. We wanted everything yesterday. We want hit records. We want lots of followers on Instagram. We want we want to sell out shows, etc., etc. We don't want to do the shows that no one turns up to.
Right.
We want to write a hit, the first record that we write.
Yeah.
What was it like back in the 80s starting something that had no one before, that you didn't have a fucking clue what you were doing, but also having, like, because it was a very different time. The 80s in Chicago was different to how it is now. Like, what was it like just being then?
Yeah, so disco had just been officially killed pretty much. So, but we wanted we were playing a lot of old stuff and it was getting old. You know, you go to every party and you were hearing the same records because there was no new disco being made.
Yeah.
Then we started looking to the Italo disco, which was definitely had an impact. And that stuff we just, this is what I call the Middle Ages, which is after the dinosaurs, but before the internet. That's the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
So during that time, it wasn't easy to do. It was impossible to do anything like this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy to get access to things in Europe. You had to wait for somebody. You had to wait for a container to arrive and hope it had some good music on it, and you're waiting forever. And so that was a big thing for us. So we were like, well, if they can do it, electronic music in Italy and Spain and whatnot, I went out and I got a drum machine, I got a keyboard, I got a little sampling pedal. I didn't even have a sampling keyboard back then. It was a Boss pedal, which was it had I think it had some compression on it maybe, and it had about 0.7 of a second for sampling. And that was all I needed to do. It's house.
Yeah.
That's less than a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of a shot in the dark. When I say that, I was fortunate that I was friends with some of back then the top DJs like Ron Hardy and Frankie Knuckles, who were disco DJs. They became house DJs after my stuff was out. But the truth is they played disco. But I was fortunate in having a relationship with them where I could just take some drum beats and throw it on a reel-to-reel and say, hey, can you see how this works?
Yeah.
And so I had a really good sounding board, with them and their crowds. So even though it was a shot in the dark, it was a learning experience. I learned, what they liked, and I really wanted to craft a sound, create the blueprint, if you would.
Yeah.
That's I guess that's why people call me the architect of house and techno.
Yeah.
But I created the blueprint for what we know dance music is today.
Damn, dude, it's wild. It's like I still struggle to kind of comprehend it all, really. So Chicago back then, Ron Hardy, Frankie Knuckles playing in the clubs there. What was it like in the clubs back in those days?
Very sparse.
Yeah.
So Chicago, let's look at the elephant in the room. All the social unrest. If you think it's bad now, Chicago in the 70s and 80s was really bad.
Yeah.
The major disco clubs, which a lot of it was, people of color doing the music,
Yeah.
a lot of ethnicities doing the music. But the big clubs, like on Rush Street was kind of our Gold Coast area. That's where a lot of the big clubs were. Um, I wouldn't have been allowed in those big clubs,
Yeah.
and if I would have to meet a certain dress code, I would have to have 3 pieces of ID, all those things, and then still have to have the secret handshake and know somebody. So the underground clubs that Frankie and Ron Hardy played in, they were to kind of fight against that, to give everybody. They were inclusive instead of exclusive,
Yeah.
so it gave everybody an opportunity to experience. But like I said, they were sparse. They didn't have the huge mirror balls, that you see in
Yeah.
Studio 54 and such. But they did have Mars lights, the police lights and
Yeah.
strobes, and so it's very sparse. What it did was it created a different atmosphere, so you didn't have to go and get dressed up, and have your John Travolta Saturday Night Fever big collar from shoulder to shoulder. You came as you are, and not only did you come as you are, but you came to sweat. You
Yeah.
came to party. You knew that by the end of the night your clothes were going to be drenched, so you weren't wearing your Armani and your Versace.
Yeah.
You were wearing your gym clothes or whatnot. So it kind of, I'd say also it started changing some of the fashion trends to being, instead of more suits, to more casual wear,
Yeah.
where t-shirts and things were. So the whole house culture really has changed the world, and I think, I hope it continues to. I'm so glad that we've got great artists, producers, DJs like yourself who are continuing in this, because that's what it takes. I took a hiatus. We can go into that later if you want, but I'm really glad that you guys picked it up and keep it going.
Well, I think this is the thing. I had Gene on the podcast, and we discussed a lot about like how Europe kind of took over the house and techno scene from America, and we kind of adopted it as our child, and
Yeah,
kind of grew it into something, an even bigger culture from where it was in America, where it was the underground, and we created it to the overground, to the point where we still have, well, our dance, our club charts are still sometimes in the top 10. Oh, we've just lost back.
what's that?
Sorry, I just lost you for some reason. We're back.
No, I'm here.
I think
Yeah,
my
yeah,
screen
yeah.
went weird.
Okay.
For we like, even in our charts, we have like, in the top 10, we might have like 8 house records. And don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
they're more commercially viable house record, but they're still 4/4 and they're still house.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. Whereas in America, it's a lot more hip hop and R&B based, and obviously rock and roll and things like that. It's very, unless it's a Calvin Harris record or something like that, it's
Right.
very rarely going to be in the charts. But
But it's a weird thing. It's kind of like your mom made cookies, and but you were used to those, but when your friends came over, they're like, "Oh, mate, your mom's cookies are amazing.
yeah,
These should
yeah,
be in the shops."
yeah,
And that's that, and you're like, they're just cookies.
yeah,
She makes them and we eat them. It's not a
yeah,
big deal. And that's the kind of way the way music is, unfortunately, with our countries. Kind of like when the Beatles, the Beatles had to literally come to Chicago to
yeah,
make it.
yeah,
You guys are like, okay, so it's another rock band.
yeah,
And it was the same thing with house. Here it's in Chicago in the US, they're like, oh, house music, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's that stuff those guys listen to. But when you guys got it, you're like, oh, that's amazing. This should be in all the shops.
yeah.
And so it's just kind of that natural thing that things that we have at home we don't appreciate as much, but they're appreciated more once they get out in the world.
I've never thought of it that way, and you're so right. And I think it isn't about necessarily culturally anything. It's just it's it's like when you're at school and you see the the girls or the boys from the other school, and you're like, damn, where all these hot girls come from?
Yeah, like right. That the whole airport syndrome. When you get to the airport, that's
Yeah.
where you see the hottest women, right? Like, where are they? Where'd they come from?
No, totally, man, totally. So let's go back a little bit, back into the 80s.
Yeah.
When did you wrote records with Frankie Knuckles? How did that come across?
Yeah. So I so like I said, 85 I did Jack Tracks, and Frankie was a friend way before that. I think we became friends about 1983, 84.
Yeah.
And I did some little remix things for him, disco records, just giving a little update,
Yeah.
So I've been, doing a few tunes, and I just felt like it was time to bring him in. I ended up loaning him one of my keyboards, and showed him a few things around there, and yeah, and he already had a drum machine, and so I told him, like, Frankie, you need to do a record. He's like, no, Chip, I'm just a DJ. I'm like, no, like, I mean, you're doing a performance at the club, because back then, and not to disparage anything, but back in the early days, Frankie was a music selector,
Yeah.
but he really wasn't what we would consider a DJ today. It was kind of like more, I mean, he would try to blend, but he didn't beat match. That's the bottom line. Before, I'd say about 1989, Frankie wasn't beat matching.
Yeah.
He was just playing a record. He tried to get the tempo close, and he uses three-way EQ to drop out all the bass, so you didn't hear the beats fighting each other.
Yeah, the train coming down the
yes, yes, the train wreck.
Yeah.
So, but I knew he had a flavor, and so myself and Joe Smooth, we just drug him in the studio basically. We said, let's do a record, and that was the beginning of his career as a producer and artist.
Damn. So you didn't only just create house music, you also helped Frankie Knuckles get to the point of what Frankie Knuckles got to. How does it feel to be that type of person? Because I'll be honest, like, is there ever a point where you're like, why did everyone look at Frankie Knuckles and not me? Does that make sense? And I'm not saying that you weren't as I don't want to say you're not as popular as Frankie Knuckles, but Frankie Knuckles is one of the biggest artists in house music ever.
No. I'm not as popular. Like I said, a lot of people, are tuning in and they're going, "Wow, I never heard of this Chippy guy. I didn't know about this." No. A lot of people, have gained more fame and more money than I have.
Yeah,
and that's my fault. But I don't fault myself for it.
Yeah.
So again, here let me just tell you what happened. Around the mid '80s, I was very young. I started doing this when I was 18.
Yeah.
By the time I was 21, I was starting to become a person I didn't like.
Yeah.
I wasn't mature enough to handle the fame, the money, the women, and all that. That's just the honest truth. I wasn't in it, but I was mature enough to realize that. And so about 1987, 88, I completely disappeared. I completely divested myself of the entertainment industry. Like I said, I had way too many girlfriends. Way too many. And
that's a headache, man. That's a fucking headache.
It is. And I got to a point where I wasn't able to juggle them, because that's what it is, man. All right, look, I've never said this on camera before, but I mean, I had a situation where, I mean, in my condo, I had to go in the bathroom and take a Polaroid picture of what the bathroom looked like, and then take all of that girl's stuff, put it in a box, put the Polaroid picture on it, drop it, and then go out and get the other girl's stuff and put it out. That's how bad it was. It was ridiculous. And like I got to a point where, and oh, and if you found an earring on the floor, you just throw that shit away. You don't ask anybody, is this yours? You just, earring, fuck, done with it. So I could have stayed in.
Yeah.
I could have, I could have had the big mansions and, gigging every weekend around the world. But I don't think I would. The way I was going, I don't think that I would have survived. And if I survived, I don't think that I would have been a great person.
Yeah.
Um, so when as I, like I said, in retrospect, I'm glad that I was there at the beginning, and I'm glad I'm back now. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
man.
I'm mature enough now to handle it. I'm definitely ready for it, and I've been able to maintain my creativity. I just did a remix on one of Frankie Knuckles' last records that was unreleased, so it just came out September 11th. It's called Carefree.
Yeah, I was
I'm a
checking it
Star.
out today. It's a nice record. I really like it.
Thanks. Kind of laid back. It's not really where I'm at. But I like, I mean, I was glad that I could be a part of it, but it's a lot more laid back. I've got a new label. It's called You So Nasty Records, and we just released a tune called Deep Underground. Carl featured that in his last BBC Essentials. I got to get that to you. I
Yeah,
got to get
send
a
it,
bunch of
man.
stuff to you. Yeah. October 2nd, I've got a couple of releases. I've got one with James Curd. It's called Are We Really Gonna Do This? And then I've got my first release on Nervous Records. It's called
Dope.
The Morning.
Dope, man.
So I'm keeping busy. But like I said, yeah. So sometimes I think, man, it would be nice to have, that $4 million mansion. But um, there are guys who had. Well, let me tell you this: the newspaper um, writes a list every day of people who wish they just had one more day. They make a
Yeah.
list every day of people who would give their whole fortunes just to have one more day on this planet. So,
Yeah.
all the money and all the fame, um, it doesn't beat having your health. And the health is both physical and mental. Got to have your mental health,
Yeah.
got to have your physical health, got to have your emotional health. So I'm in a good place. But so yeah, I'm kind of sorry that I missed out on a lot of that. But in a way, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to have opportunities like this. Like we're gonna be collabing, we're
Yeah.
gonna be doing some big stuff. I can't wait because this is the anniversary of its house,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be doing your mad ass its house mix. And I
Do
can't
it.
wait to see what you do with that.
All
You
over
better
that.
fuck it up, Will. You better fuck it up.
All over that, man. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful thing. And it's really nice to kind of hear that from you as well. Is like, especially in this like coronavirus time as well. I think a lot of people I can only speak for myself, but I know a lot of friends who are kind of in the same situation where it now everyone's at a level playing field because there's no shows going on, releases are being released, but anyone can release music, and it doesn't matter about your fame or how much money you earn. It matters about who you are as a person and
Yeah.
who you have in your life, because at the end of the day, we all have friends in the industry, but it's still an industry. There's still so many people that would come across on a weekly basis on touring or whatever that I just don't talk to because it's part of the industry. And I think it's about who we have in our lives outside of the industry, which actually makes us the people who we are today and kind of keeps us grounded and keeps us kind of normal, because this life isn't normal. Like the touring life
No.
is not a normal life. As much as it looks amazing, and it is fucking amazing. We're so lucky to have it, but it's very
Yeah.
far from normal reality. Like one of my very good friends, who he's now sober, but he went through like a stage of drinking a lot, and he's an extremely successful DJ, and it got to the point where he was like, I'm waking up on a Monday morning, all of my normal friends are going to work, and he has nothing around him, nobody around him, and what does he do? Start drinking. And it's that whole mental health thing. And I think now, although finances aren't actually good right now for a lot of people in this industry, but I think it's making that realization that it's not all about the fame. It's not all about the money. It's not all about the materialistic sides of what this industry can bring you. It's actually about being fucking healthy in your mental health and having good people around you.
Amen, amen. Well, that's I mean, a lot of my friends and I, we say the DJ battle is no longer on the turntables.
Yeah.
The DJ battle is now staying alive, staying healthy.
Yeah.
Look at and not to disparage him, but we lost a great friend just a couple weeks ago, in Eric Murillo. And again, not to disparage him, but it takes a toll. It takes a toll on you mentally and physically and emotionally. You've got to stay centered, and it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm really I'm very content, and I'm excited about the future.
Yeah.
I'm very excited, and the playing field is leveled. It was funny. I think about April, I posted in social media, and it took people a while to get it, but I was like, wow, I finally got the same schedule as as Tiesto and Carl Cox.
That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true, man. It's so true. So in 87, 88, when you kind of just was like tapping out, let's get out of this. What did you do?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Come back to me.
Like what was a day in Chippy's life? Like what did you did you make families? Did you what was the next 10 years of your life?
Oh, so after I left.
Yeah.
Okay. So, man, I did a lot of stuff trying to find myself. I actually worked as a police officer.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's stop there. Let's get to police officer, all right?
Because I care about people.
No, but I
believe that everybody deserved to be safe.
Yeah.
And so that was what kind of brought me to, at 13, I got mugged. I was near a bad area, and I got mugged, and it made me feel very vulnerable, and I didn't want that to happen to me or anybody else.
Yeah.
And I'd had friends and family who were police officers, and it was just something I gravitated to. Like I said, I wanted to help the world. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to do music was it wasn't just for fame and money. I didn't expect, as an 18-year-old kid making music, I didn't expect I was going to make any money or any fame.
Yeah.
But I wanted to help people's lives and make them happy. And like I said, being a police officer, I thought was going to allow me to really help people.
Yeah.
But I found out it really wasn't about helping people. It was about policing, and not to disparage police department, but like I say, it wasn't what I thought it was. And that's it. But you've got questions.
I was going to say, like, what's like, I know what I personally don't know, but I know from friends that have told me back in the day of Chicago, America generally. But what was Chicago like being a policeman in the late 80s, early 90s?
It was just a job. It was just a job. Chasing bad guys. All right. I don't want to go into, but I mean, yeah. So I had to chase some bad guys, and I survived. They survived. I never shot anybody. Never killed anybody.
That was the thing. Is I'm not even trying to get at that, because I'm just trying to get at how much America has actually changed in a quite a short period of time. Although there's still a long way to go, but there's still a long way to go for everyone. But let's say, for instance, New York in the 80s compared to when Giuliano got in and kind of cleaned it up. Like, did Chicago ever go through that kind of similar thing that New York did, or was it different?
It's different. New York really is a melting pot.
Yeah.
Even though in Chicago you can find every ethnicity, and you can find um every language that's spoken, and every dialect of every language that's spoken, you will find in Chicago.
Yeah.
But Chicago, in opposition to New York and a lot of other places, is really one of the most segregated
Yeah.
cities in America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's just this big divide, and or when you, if you look at it, if you just look at the airport, or you go to a school or something, I mean, or you're downtown, it might look like it's integrated, but it's still very
Yeah. Yeah.
segregated. We still got a long way to go,
Yeah.
and I don't know why that is, but that's just the reality that we live in. Whereas, New York, you can't. There's no, this neighborhood or that neighborhood. It's New York. It's just a melting pot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know why that is, but it's always been that way, and I don't see it changing anytime
No.
soon. I like some of the change that we're seeing. Oh, I liked it. I liked. We're not seeing change yet. We're seeing things brought to light with the
Yeah.
protests.
Yeah.
You really can't protest, and you can't debate people to change, or people from hating you because of the way that the environment affects the melanin of your skin.
Yeah.
You can't just debate or protest and instantly change people's minds about that. And if you could, it would probably just change back overnight.
Yeah.
Kind of like these diets, lose 10 pounds in a week. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? If you lose 10 pounds in a week, you're going to gain it back the next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a long time for true change to really occur.
Totally.
But I'm glad that we're bringing things to light, and that, but you know what? There's some things that I'm not glad about, the way some things are going way beyond common sense, like the fact that with all this these claims of cultural theft and whatnot, my good friend Joey Negro having to change his name. Come on, that's ridiculous. He meant nothing by that. Our friend the Black Madonna.
I didn't know
Joey.
I didn't know Joey Negro changed his name. What did he change his name to?
Yeah. I don't know what it is now, but he's not using Negro.
Jeez.
And Black Madonna now. I mean, that's just crazy. That doesn't make sense. I mean, these people, they meant no harm. They're not trying to do any theft. That's just the name they adopted. So there are some things like that, that are going too far. So let me say this. I believe I don't use right after Mr. George Floyd was murdered.
Yeah.
I took a stance where I've divested myself totally of using colors to describe people.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the way that the environment affects the melanin content in your skin does not define you as a person. It doesn't define me, doesn't define you, doesn't define anybody else. It's just the way that the environment affects the melanin content of you. It doesn't mean how creative you are, how smart you are. It doesn't mean anything about you, except that's the way the environment affects the melanin in your skin. So I've completely divested myself of using colors to describe people.
Yeah.
So you won't hear me talking about, people in terms of colors, because I believe there's only one race, the human race.
Yeah.
I mean, we are completely the same people, except for the way the environment affects the melanin content of our skin.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. But I do think that we need everybody to think that way.
Totally.
So it's not this race against that race, because we're all the human race. It's good humans against humans who want to put people in the boxes, and who want to prejudge people, and who want to determine a person's value based on how they look instead of the content of their character.
I totally agree, to be fair. And I think it's really nice, if you know what I mean. I wish everyone could be the same. I think from being in the UK, where race issues, there's race issues all around the world, everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Whether in some countries it's you're racist against white people. Some people are racist against black people. Some people are racist against their religions or whatever that is called. It's everywhere. And I wish it wasn't, because all it is tribalism at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we are tribal people. Like the house scene is a tribal community, if you know what I mean. You keep yourselves to yourselves. You don't want to talk to don't want to get involved with EDM people, don't want to get involved with whatever trance guys it is. But it's, I think,
yeah, EDM.
Yeah, exactly. But realistically, like, we're all just fucking jealous. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It would be beautiful if people could literally view people on their actions and judge people on how they treat other people and treat themselves, not based on visual appearance. But how do you change that?
By bringing light to it. I think that's the first way, and then by each of us challenging the other to be fair, and to, like, I'm going to challenge you, to eliminate thinking of people in terms of colors.
Yeah.
So I'm going to challenge you on that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to challenge somebody else. And I've done this with a lot of friends, and that helps grow these ideas, and it brings light to, by calling this guy this and that, does that really, is that, even though it can be used as a descriptor, does that add value or does it detract? Does it make me think thoughts about, what is a part of his background, what's part of his taste and such, what's part of his flavor, so I think we each need to get the word out that we're all humans, except for people who listen to EDM. They're like subhuman. They're trying to evolve. One day they'll get it.
They get there one day. They get there one day. But in all jokes aside, do you think, coming from somebody that's created a scene, and do you think that there is an issue with culturalness in house techno? Do you think there is an issue where black artists don't get the same privileges as a white artist, or a gay artist doesn't get the privileges as a straight artist, or a female artist doesn't get the same privileges as a non-female, if you know what I mean? Do you see that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You I mean, even Stevie Wonder can see that.
Yeah.
You'll get that later. So
I've actually warmed up for Stevie Wonder. Claim to fame. Yeah. On a Hillary Clinton. I was sorry, this is a side story. I've got to tell everyone. Yeah. I was playing in Philly, and I was playing a show with Sage Armstrong years ago, and it was when Hillary Clinton was running for presidency, and there was like a Hillary Clinton kind of like party that I didn't know they did this in America, but they go around rallying in different cities and then put a party on, and she'd booked Stevie Wonder to play her party. And the only venue that was free was at the venue that I was playing at. So technically, he played before me. So, yeah, he warmed up for me.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was so funny. On the like flyer outside, they had like this like sign, and it was like, Will Clarke, Stevie Wonder. And I was like, yes, that's something I can claim.
That's got to be a good feeling, man. I mean, of all the things you did, that's got to be awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Carry on.
But back to no, that's all right. So yeah, there are people who are favored, and it's not fair for ethnicities or people who are of different genders or different sexual preferences. And that really bothers me, because, like I said, house has always been inclusive, but now that it's become such a big business, it's like any other big business.
Yeah.
Where unfortunately, so it's not something that's unique to the music industry. It's something that is part of every industry, which is once we start getting all the corporate heads in, and the decision makers start to make decisions based on, sadly, who looks like them, and
Yeah.
they start to really have prejudices against the people who are not like them, people who are not the same melanin color of them, people who are not of the same political affiliation as them, people who are not of the same gender as them,
Yeah.
people who are not of the same sexual preference as them. And like I said, it's really sad that that's what the growth has come to, because back in the day, we didn't care anything except, can you bring the beats?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that was the only thing that was important. We didn't care how you looked, who you sleep with, who you vote for, anything. We just cared about, can you bring the funk? Can
Yeah.
you jack the box? And that was it. Before I forget, I got a couple of people that I got to give shouts out to, um, because when I was kind of making my comeback a few years ago, besides Carl Cox and Joseph Capriati and my good friends, there were two locals in Chicago that really, and you know them both, I think, that were really went above and beyond to help me get back in tune with things, if you would, because um, you know, yeah, being away for a while, it took me a bit to catch up, but Larry Sladen
Yeah.
and Paul Anthony of Ghetto Blaster, those two guys, they really went above what they needed to, do as friends, and I'm really thankful for that,
They're the
and
best,
also
man.
for the yeah,
They're the
yeah,
best. They're great guys, and uh, with the I don't know. Obviously, they can't at the moment, but with the Ghetto Blaster guys doing the party in Grand Rapids, at
yeah,
Billy's on a Monday, it's like it's the only party in America on a Monday night, and it's in this like
yeah,
crazy little bar. It's like, don't get me wrong, the sound system's not great, the bar is not great at all, but
right.
there's like a vibe of just like university kids, and they all just fucking party. Is great, and there's a great hot dog store next to it, which is like some famous hot dog store. It's really good.
Right.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
that's funny. That's something we always remember, right? As DJs,
Yeah,
we always remember the food that was nearby. You remember the vibe, you remember the food.
yeah,
I remember back in London. Where was it? It was around Minister Sound, around Elephant and Castle,
yeah.
and there was some hamburger stand that popped up, and it was the best hamburger I've had in my life,
Was it Dirty
and
Burger?
it might be, it
Yeah.
might be,
If it is Dirty Burger, which I think there's one in Elephant and Castle, it's so good.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. So over the years, when okay, so we've gone from being a policeman. Um,
Yeah.
what was after being a police officer?
I got into IT. I
Okay.
did a lot of software architecture and things, and then after that, I got into video production and editing, and I did some DVD authoring, and I got to work with some pretty cool people. That's it. And then and I still have my video production business. I just got finished working on a film with the Farrelly brothers.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so it's fun, but I love being back in the music.
Yeah.
God, I love touring again. Back,
A few months
do you
ago.
remember back? Yeah,
Back when we did.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sad that I'm going to miss one of my favorite festivals, this the IAEP festival in Cuba, in Havana, Cuba. I've been doing that for a couple years.
I've never been to
God,
Cuba.
oh well, when the
Never
world
been.
comes back, you got to come with me.
Yeah, man, I'd
You got
love
to
to.
come. You will love it. I'm gonna I'm gonna post in a couple of days. I'm gonna post one of the videos from when it's an outdoor festival, and it had rained, and like a lot of the performers went into this tent, and just started freestyling, and you just the energy was amazing. It's just the people, you know, Cuba's an island. They don't have access to a whole lot, you know, and so when people like us come over there, they really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But they're funky people, man. They love, you know, they love the jazz and the blues, and you know, and they love the house and the techno, and you're gonna love it when you go there.
Yeah,
We're going.
I really want to go before it gets too like commercialized. I know it's got
That's
commercialized already, but
no, it's just still pure. But like that's what I tell everybody. It's like you got to get to Cuba before Starbucks does.
yeah.
You know, because then it's all over.
Then it's
Then it's
game over.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the plan with regards to coming back into music? Like obviously you got releases coming out and you're doing all of that. Is it a plan to do it something full time? Is it planned to like go balls deep and just go for it and kind of get back to where you could have taken it back from when you were 18? Or is it just like I'm just gonna do this for fun and I'm just gonna write music and earn some money and just do the thing how you want it to do?
No, the plan is to make it a full time thing because
Cool.
I really of all the things that I've ever done and all the things that I can do, there's nothing I like more than making or playing music. That gives me the most joy in life. And I'm at a point where, you know, I've got all the stuff I want, you know, I've got houses, I've got cars, and you know, so it's not about the money, it's about making me happy. It's about
Yeah.
going out and meeting new people and having new experiences and feeling that vibe and finding those burger joints, you know. That's
I
that's
love
what it's
that.
about for me, you know. Like I say, I'm not rich, but I'm very content right now. And the thing that would make me happy is to be able to, yeah, to continue to spread the word of house and techno.
I love that. And if I can ever be of a hand, just hit me up, man. I'm always here to help. Um,
Thank you, brother.
it would be great.
I,
It'd be definitely great to do some shows together as well.
amen to that. And yeah, I already tell. I mean, you know, the way we've been vibing, yeah, you know, it's natural. It's natural,
Yeah,
bro.
no, I agree. I agree. So, man, I want to go back a little bit into some history. Um,
Hmm.
Frankie Knuckles. Who else did you inspire back in the day?
Um,
Who was in the crew? Because we all have a crew.
uh, yeah. So Kevin Irving,
Mhm.
also known as Jack in House.
Yeah.
So Kevin went on to so I brought him in. We did a tune called "If You Only Knew,"
Okay.
and that was my commercial breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I mean, it started being played, you know, in all the, you know, top 10 radio stations, and Kevin started blowing up as a vocalist. He ended up leaving me and going with Club Nouveau, and you know, next thing I know, I turn on Soul Train and American Bandstand, and there he is. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. No, but what's funny is he went on to um, he wrote and produced most of Bruno Mars' first album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so in a way, I guess I'm kind of connected to Bruno Mars. So yeah, I mean, because yeah, Kevin kind of discovered him and, like I said, wrote, produced for him. Another guy,
Damn.
Liddell Townsend, Nunu was one of his big records. That was just covered by who was that? Oh, Pitbull and I can't remember this other guy. I'm trying to think of who else
What was it
was really.
called?
Uh, yeah,
Searching it.
or like just MMMMMH.
I'm searching it now.
Okay,
I can't say I'm a pro at Pitbull. Um,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'll search it too. We can edit out this part now.
Nah, people are gonna love us trying to search for Pitbull records. Give me everything.
Okay,
Timber,
no,
time of our lives. Feel this moment. International love. See discography.
I'm gonna put it. Yeah, so Austin Mahone and Pitbull. Yeah, so it's three M's and yeah,
Okay.
Austin Mahone, Pitbull. You got it?
Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
That's one.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So
Um,
that was somebody else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, that was kind of a. So my original partner in crime, Kurt Landrum, he got murdered about, I want to say, in the mid to late '90s. It's still, uh, they still never found out what happened. He lived on the north side of Chicago, and uh, Kurt was always very friendly person, and he would host little video game tournaments for the kids in the neighborhood. And one day he had a knock on his back door. He went to the back door, and someone just shot and killed him.
Damn.
Really, yeah, really sad, man. It's sad. There's so many evil people in the world.
Still happens.
Uh, yeah. Joe Smooth. Now, what's funny is Joe and I kind of fight about this. But, so Joe is a little bit older. Joe Smooth, Promised Land. He he was a customer of mine when I was working at imports when I was in college, and I was working at the record store, imports, etc.
Yeah.
He would come in, and that's how we met. But I knew he was already an accomplished DJ. He was one of the bigger DJs. So, but I brought him into the studio first. So, when he was part of the Jack Tracks EP,
Yeah.
and like I said, because he was older and his voice was deeper, he's actually the voice that says "Time to Jack."
Okay.
That's actually Joe
So
Smooth.
is that his claim to fame?
Yeah. Well, Joe's got all types of claims to fame, but I say, Joe, I brought you into this. But like I said, the reality is he was already a DJ, but I brought Frankie into producing, I brought Joe into producing and everything. And he's Joe and I are still great friends. And he's still doing great things. He's still doing amazing things. Trying to think who else. And I got to shout out to my guy Eric E.T. Taylor, because when I did Jack Tracks, like I said, there weren't a whole lot of people that believed in what we were doing.
Yeah.
Believed in what my vision was.
Yeah.
So there were really just those three guys. There was Joe Smooth, Kurt Landrum, and Eric E.T. Taylor.
Yeah.
And they joined me in the studio and they helped me produce this thing.
Yeah.
And Eric's still making music, Joe's still making music. Like I said, unfortunately, Kurt's no longer with us. But that was my main crew. Those guys were my main crew.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to still have them in, two of the three is still in my life. And especially, to see what Joe is doing, he's just done some amazing things. And there are people that have his song "The Promised Land" tattooed on their body. You got the lyrics,
mad,
yeah. I mean, that's something. Yeah,
it is.
I think you should get a "Time to Jack" tattoo.
I've got a Candy Staten tattoo, which actually Frankie is. I've got the Candy Staten. You've got the love.
Nice.
So obviously, your love from Frankie was kind of the intro to the Source remix.
Yeah.
Which one did which first?
Jamie Principle's "Your Love" was first.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Jamie's a good guy. By the way,
Jamie's a lovely guy. I spoke to Jamie years ago on my old radio show, and I got put in touch with him. So I don't know how I got in touch with him, but I think I reached out to him and then introduced him, and then from that I was working with Simon from the Shapeshifters. Can you remember the Shapeshifters?
Yeah.
And Simon was doing, I think at the time, and maybe still is, Simon's girlfriend was like PA manager for Damon Albarn and that was when they wanted Jamie Principle to do the Gorillaz record. So I got a call from Simon, was like, dude, can you put me in touch with Jamie, because we want to get him on a Gorillaz record. But he's since doing the Gorilla stuff, he's kind of gone even bigger now, which is so nice to see. Is there anybody that kind of you've seen in this in the Chicago scene that you're like, I'm so proud that they just kept at it and kind of got to where they're at today? Because there's a lot of artists that kind of were big in early 90s and then kind of fell off, and now they're fucking massive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Frankie,
Yeah.
uh, you even though he's not with us, I mean, I'm really proud that he got that acclaim because he really was a beautiful person, and his events when he ran the club, the Power Plant, um, it was really a very special time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he was able to take his message and our message around the world. Little something a lot of people don't know. Like you probably got the Slam remix that Slam and I did on Like This. Yeah, that
Yeah.
okay.
I can't remember.
Well, okay, all right. So, but here's the thing. So, Like This, the sample, that's actually a lot of people think it's me, but actually I had Frankie do that. So
Okay.
that's Frankie on my record. But I gotta get you a lot of stuff. But yeah, speaking of Slam, I'm just thinking, man, Sub Club. I know
I
you played there.
I've never played there.
No,
I've
that
never, dude. So this is the thing. I have a bigger following in America than I do in the UK.
okay.
So I don't really like it's a in the greater plan to come back to England and tour more in Europe. Um, before coronavirus kind of took
Yeah.
over, but it's still in the plan. But yeah, I because of my because of how I started in the industry with Dirty Bird years ago, it
Hmm.
kind of built me a fan base in America that is much bigger than my fan base in the UK.
Copy that.
So yeah, that's hence why I live in Detroit when I'm in America. Is like it's I need a place there full time because I tour more in America than I do back here in the UK. But
Okay.
I really want to play Sub Club. What's
Oh
it?
yeah, it's amazing. It's they've got I think it's a Function One system they still
Yeah.
have, and they've got subwoofers under the dance floor, and it's just they got a nice fridge next to the booth that's stocked with good beer. Um, yeah, but those guys, yeah, it's that's one of my favorite clubs. That's one of my favorite clubs. Uh, yeah, man, we got to do some stuff once the world reboots.
Yeah, man. Well,
Because that's the thing. Because we gotta reboot it because this version of 2220 definitely has a virus. Sorry.
Dad jokes are
Thank you.
killing us.
Sorry. I'll stick to my day job or my night job.
Stick to DJing.
Yeah.
No, man. When I'm back in Detroit, um, I'll come down to Chicago or you come up to Detroit.
Yeah.
We're
Easy.
we're like 4 hours away. It's easy.
Yeah.
And let's actually like get in the studio and do some stuff. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, but I'm gonna send you some stuff.
Please
Since you
do.
got this whole thing of the internet, I'll send you some stuff in advance.
Please do, man. That's amazing. Chicago is one of my favorite cities to play in.
Thank you for that.
It is definitely one of my favorite cities, and the Paradigm guys are great.
Yeah.
Are you happy with how Chicago's gone from back in the day to now?
Whew.
Or what would you do
No,
different?
no. I think I'd like to see. We got some nice clubs. We got some big clubs, especially like I said, the Paradigm guys.
Yeah.
I mean, John Curley, and the other guys, and Mike Lang,
Yeah.
and you know, I can't wait for you to play Radius.
Yeah.
That's their new 5,000 person capacity.
I was supposed to.
You're gonna love that.
Yeah. I literally, it was weird. I probably shouldn't say this, but I was supposed to be playing with Camel Fat like pretty soon after, and we were going to be doing Radius. But yeah, man, I'd love to play that.
Yeah. I can't wait till you do. You definitely. But I just like to see more places like Radius. I mean, Radius is like I said, Radius is amazing. It's going to be the first venue I think that really truly caters to house and techno in Chicago, and is a mega venue.
Yeah.
It's not just the 300 person capacity.
Yeah.
We finally had a venue in place where we were gonna be able to have an Elro show in Chicago. Because we didn't have any place that was big enough to handle that. So I'm excited. to have Michael Jackson and the Arrow guys here, you know, that was going to be really cool.
Because I
So
think you're right actually. I've never thought about that. I've only just been really selfish when I
mm,
thinking about how Chicago is that I love playing Spy Bar and it's like a great sweaty venue.
mhm.
However, there's no room for growth because is it Prism, the other club?
Yeah,
Prism, although it's a great club, it's not a house club. It's a VIP kind of bottle service club. And
right,
and don't get me
right. Which they
wrong,
have house nights.
they have
Yeah,
house nights and they even the mid, it wasn't really a house club. It was still that kind of top 40 club that did house parties. Um,
right,
but considering of how prominent Chicago is in dance music and how the history has been there, there's no real. It's not like there's a Brooklyn Mirage in Chicago, and
right,
there should be
right.
because
Yeah,
Chicago has the following. Like Chicago people that live in Chicago, whatever Chicagoers, whatever Chicagoarians, whatever you call yourselves,
Chicagoans.
Chicagoans, um,
Yeah,
you like to party. It's the Midwest. They have summers and they want to party during the summer, and also the winters are so cold that everyone wants to get in a sweaty club and sweat to kind of
yeah,
to forget about the cold winters. And you haven't. You're right. You haven't got anything like that.
yeah. But finally we do have Radius. But yeah, it would be nice to have a Brooklyn Mirage. I mean, that venue is.
That
I mean,
venue.
yeah, I mean, you could have your party, I could have mine, and Tiesto could have his, and Carl could have his, and it would still be okay.
Yeah, that
I
venue
love
is
that
something
place.
else.
Yeah, I think that's where I first saw you. I think when I first met you, I think it was at a Dirty Bird party there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two years ago, maybe
yeah,
July. Were you playing
yeah.
that party?
No, no, I just played somewhere in Brooklyn. I can't remember just before that. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I love that venue. And the people that run it are so nice. Everyone's like, it's just like this professionally ran machine, but it's not got the commercial corporate feel about it. It's just there's
right.
something right about it. It's New York. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's just New York. It's just got that feeling. New York's my favorite city in America personally, and
Okay.
it's
Nice.
just a New York vibe that I just something about it. I don't know. Don't know. Right, dude. Thank you so much for being on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Like,
I've enjoyed this. We've gotten to go into a lot of areas I didn't expect to, and I think people will appreciate that. It's not the normal, this is what I have coming out next, and this, I think we got to talk about some real important topics,
yeah,
and
this is the reason
yeah,
why I do it because I don't like we would never have ever been able to have this conversation in a club, right? You and
right,
I, like, we would have had to have spent a lot of time together and not even in the studio because realistically we're just going to be writing music. And
mm,
I love having conversations with people, and especially I really wanted to have a conversation with you, and I really hope people kind of have learned a lot from this, and that's what I do this for. Is I bring people on that I find interesting, bring people on that are my close friends that I love, and also people like yourself that I find really interesting, and I want to get to know you more, if you know what I mean. And I want people to know more about who you are and what you effect you've had on the world in our scene. Um,
thank you for that. Thank you. I really appreciate you introducing me to your fans, and I hope that your fans will Google me and check me out on Discogs and find out some of the music and see some of the old stuff I did and see some of the new stuff. But and reach out, find me on social media. Let me know, let me know what you like, and let me know if any of my old stuff resonates.
yeah. So
And I think that's
how do people follow you on your socials? What's your handles
well.
on?
Well, my primary website is I am Chip E, just all one word, I am Chip E, and that has all my socials there. But Yeah, most of my socials is I'm Chip E. So just go to my website, find me, Google me, whatever. But yeah, I can't wait to get in the studio, brother, and until we get into the club and do a back to back or
Let's do it,
something.
man.
That'll be wicked.
Let's do
That'll
it,
be
man.
wicked.
Can't wait.
All right.
Keep safe. Let me
Thank
know
you.
if you need anything, and I'll catch you soon.
All right. Big hug, big love,
Big
man.
love, dude. Keep safe. Bye, man.
Peace.
Wow. What a show. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Thank you very much for everyone that's listened. If you did enjoy it, please go share it. I'm actually going to be adding some of Chip's music, so you guys can hear it, which is going to be added to my Spotify playlist, which is called Will Clarke's Record Box. So if you aren't following that, go follow that, and I'll put a load of music from Chip in there. Keep safe, look after yourselves, and I'll see you very soon.